If you're learning Italian, you have absolutely run into this. It's one of the trickiest puzzles out there. Those verbs that seem to use both essere and avere is their helper verb. It can feel totally random, but I promise you there is a logic to it. And today, we are going to crack that code. So this is the big question, right? When you're building a past tense, like the Passato Prossimo, how in the world do you know which one to pick for verbs like Cambiare or Crescere? It feels like they just can't make up their minds. But the answer isn't about memorizing some crazy long list. It's about understanding one single, really powerful idea. And here it is. This is the key that unlocks the entire thing. It's all about the direct object. Whether an action has something or someone on the receiving end is what determines everything. So first, let's just get super clear on a couple of key terms. First up, the transitive verb. The easiest way to think about this is that the word transitive sounds like transfer. The action of the verb transfers from the subject and lands on a direct object. So in a sentence like, I read the book, the action of reading transfers over to the book. Simple as that. The book is the direct object. And on the flip side, you've got the intransitive verb. Here, that action doesn't transfer anywhere. It starts and it ends with the subject. Think of a sentence like, I slept. The action of sleeping doesn't pass on to anything else. It just stays with the I. There's no direct object. So this slide right here, this is the whole game plan. Just look at the logic. If the action is intransitive, meaning it has no direct object, it's not affecting something else, you're going to use essere. But if the action is transitive, meaning it does affect something or someone else, it has a direct object, you immediately switch over to avere. That is the entire system in one go. So let's see how this plays out with some real examples. Okay, theory is great and all, but seeing this rule out in the wild is where it's really going to click. We're going to look at 3 super common verbs that cause a ton of confusion, and we'll apply our new rule to see just how solid it is. Alright, first up to bat is cambiare, which means to change. This one is a classic, a verb that trips up so many people learning Italian. This breaks it down perfectly. Over on the left, you've got la situazione è cambiata. The situation changed. The situation itself did the changing. The action doesn't go anywhere else, no direct object, so we use essere. But look to the right. Loro hanno cambiato la situazione. They changed the situation. Who changed what? They changed the situation. Now, la situazione is the direct object, and boom, the auxiliary verb immediately flips to avere. See how that works? Okay, next up is crescere. Now this one is really fascinating because its English translation actually changes depending on how you use it, which just goes to show how powerful our little rule is. Look at the difference here. It's huge. On the left, il bambino è cresciuto. The child has grown. The growing is something the child did. The action stays with him. It's intransitive, so we grab essere. But look to the right. I genitori hanno cresciuto I figli. The parents raised the children. Here, the parents are doing an action that affects someone else, their kids. The children are the direct object, so the verb becomes transitive, and that means it needs avere. The switch doesn't just change the grammar, it changes the whole meaning from to grow to raise. All right, for our final example, scendere. Things get a little more subtle. This is one of those that can even catch native speakers off guard. The key here is all about noticing the difference between moving from a place and acting upon a place. It all comes down to one tiny little thing, prepositions. Okay, focus in on this because this is a fantastic detail. On the left, è sceso dalle scale means he went down from the stairs. See that little word dalle? That's a preposition. From the stairs isn't a direct object. It's a prepositional phrase. So the rule says use essere. But then on the right, we just take out that preposition. Ha sceso le scale. He went down the stairs. Now the stairs are the thing being directly acted upon. They're the direct object. And just like that, we have to switch to avere. It's that precise. Okay, after all that talk about precision, you'll probably be pretty happy to hear there's one area where the rules loosen up a lot. There's a category of verbs where, you know what, you get a free pass. It's good news for everybody. And that category is weather. For verbs like piovere, to rain, or grandinare, to hail, modern Italian says it's totally cool to use both essere and avere, and the meaning doesn't change one bit. You can say ha piovuto or you can say è piovuto, and either way you are 100% correct. It's a nice little break in our grammar journey, right? Now, to really hammer home our golden rule about direct objects, let's look at a group of verbs that perfectly confirms this logic: reflexive verbs. Have you ever wondered why they always take essere? Well, the answer is hiding in our rule. So think about it. A reflexive verb is just when the subject does an action to itself. I wake myself up, you wash yourself, that kind of thing. Because the action reflects right back onto the subject, there's never an external person or thing receiving that action. And if there's no external direct object, what does our rule say? You gotta use essere. It fits the pattern perfectly. And you can see it right here. Mi sono svegliato. I woke myself up. Ci siamo divertiti. We enjoyed ourselves. In every single one of these, the action comes right back to the subject, so essere is always the helper verb. This isn't some separate random rule you have to memorize. It is the exact same direct object logic we've been using this whole time, just applied to a different set of verbs. So let's wrap this all up. What are the key takeaways? It's pretty simple, really. If a verb is transitive, it has a direct object, you're going to use avere. If it's intransitive, no direct object, you use essere. When you're talking about the weather, hey, you're in luck. You can use either one. And finally, for reflexive verbs, since that action always reflects back on the subject, it's always going to be essere. So you see how what felt like a totally random, confusing choice is actually a beautifully logical system. It's all based on one question. Where is the action of the verb going? So the next time you're trying to form a sentence in the past, you don't have to guess. You know the secret code. The only question now is, what are you going to express with it?